Ruth 4, 3, and 4. You have heard of Naomi. He's talking to this kinsman redeemer who's not named. She is the woman who recently returned from Moab. She is transferring her rights to the plot of land belonging to her descendant husband, deceased husband or relative element. So, because, and it's an interesting way, the Redeemer technically was for Naomi because Ruth didn't, her husband's died, so they never would have got the heir, and because Naomi was still around, it was provided in this way because Naomi still could have needed to be cared for. If Naomi was gone in this land, most likely whoever would have redeemed Ruth. And also, if Naomi was gone, Ruth probably would have been left out. It's an interesting dynamic because of Ruth in it. But either way, the land currently belongs to Naomi. The point of the kinsman redeemer was to keep the land in the family, but also providing for the widow. So this is what he's explaining this situation to him. And with him being the kinsman redeemer, he should have already been aware of this and took action to this, but he neglects his responsibility and role as a man of God under the law. I wanted you to know about it because as a close family member, you have the first right to purchase it. He could either buy the land or just marry and gain it that way. Buying it typically wasn't a way done. Buying it was done when maybe in particular circumstance when maybe somebody had another person had an eye on her. But with marriage, the land came as a part of it. Package deal. And typically marriage was the way it was done by doing the kinsman redeemer. So his first dibs to his plot of land to keep it in his family. If you want to do so, we have enough elders sitting here to witness the transaction. But this is the reason why he calls the elders to witnesses. If you want to become the guardian and redeem this land, it is yours. So he's given him permission to take this land, which shows that Boaz is not interested in gaining anything other than being married to Ruth and gaining her as a wife. He ain't interested in anything she can give him. He just wants her, which is true love. We look at this and this mirrors the image of Christ. We can't give anything to Christ, so he gave himself to us simply because he loved us, and everything we have now and that we give back to him is because of the change he's made in us. But if you are not interested in doing this, tell me now. The right belongs to you, but if you refuse it, I am next in line. So he's doing this biblically. For him to refuse it in front of these elders would have meant it null and void and give him the right to do this. So the kinsman redeemer speaks, of course, I exercise my option to redeem the land. So he's wanting to take the land, add to his possessions. He's willing to buy it. This wasn't the only role of a kinsman redeemer, though. And Boaz gets to that in the next passage, which I won't cover today. But it involved marriage. He wasn't willing to make that role. So the kinsman redeemer just was looking at what he had to get out of it, rather than what he could do. And oftentimes, our attitude of life is that way, and it shouldn't be. Our attitude of life should be serving the Lord instead of what can we get out of life. But oftentimes our focus goes on self rather than others. That's when the flesh gets in the way. We shouldn't allow that to happen, but be completely sold out for the Lord because he gave everything for us.